guys, this is Icy Blue 487, and you can just call me Icy Blue. But I wanted to speak about a time that I did Uber driving. Unfortunately, I don't have any like super duper crazy stories because the place that I live in, it's not really that populated for the most part. Most of my troubles come from the wildlife that's in my area at nighttime. I can open the door at nighttime and I see like a fox in front of my door and the fox runs away, stuff like that. Anyways, I decided to become an Uber driver when I had a very low paying job, ridiculously low paying job, and very inconsistent job. I can go from working 5 days a week to 6 days a week to not working any hours at all during the week, or 2 weeks, or even 3 weeks, or even a month. It was very ridiculous, and I started paying school loans. All of a sudden, school loans started hitting me hard, and I got tired of trying to ask my parents for money for these school loans or other people to help me out with these school loans. And at the time, Uber was like becoming this thing, and people were like, "What's Uber? Oh my God." And then my aunt was bragging to me about how much money she was making off of being an Uber driver, because she was able to not only support her family, but also be able to continue living in the house that she lived in thanks to being an Uber driver. So I was like, why not? She convinced me to do Uber driving. Honestly, according to my state, there was a lot of steps that it took in order for me to become an Uber driver, and it was pretty much a headache. My first day doing Uber was all right. I was very, very, very nervous. Oh my God. I ended up driving a business dude in the morning over to the nearest airport, which was pretty cool. The guy was pretty nice. He was very happy. He was my very first passenger. And unfortunately, my nervousness began to show, and he did ask me a couple of times if I was nervous or if I was okay. But he showed me that he gave me 5 stars because most people think I'm a very nice person, which I am, I guess. From 5 stars too, because he was like helpful. He gave me a little bit of pointers, which I used a couple of times when taking people to the airport, because that's very popular destination in my area is the airport. For those that don't know how Uber operates, as an Uber driver, then you turn on the app after downloading it and you log on and you select your car and you wait for some passenger to be like, "Hey, I need a ride." And then you go to that person that is showcased on the app on some destination, and you go there, and then you go to the destination that the passenger wants to be at. Once you reach that destination, the passenger can rate you, and you can rate the passenger, and then you get paid, and that's pretty much it. Was never ever a Uber passenger, so I can never talk from that point of view. I think the worst ride that I've ever had was this girl and her mother were pretty much in the back. The daughter could speak English perfectly well, but she can also speak Spanish perfectly well. And the mother was very critical of my driving. Fun fact for anyone that can speak Spanish and loves to speak Spanish in public and publicly trash talk people in Spanish in public. Majority of people in high school do take Spanish if they try to learn a different language, because for most part, Spanish is very easy to learn. I pretty much forgot majority of my Spanish because it's been a decade since I've graduated high school, but I am pretty much aware for the most part when someone is trash talking in Spanish and speaking about me in Spanish. So that's a fun fact for quite a few people out there to learn. There were some concerns when I was doing Uber. Aside from my own safety, I was definitely driving random strangers from point A to point B. There is this one nice boy I drove him to work. I don't know how to word this, but he seemed pretty much mentally challenged. But he was a nice kid, and it was just making me a little mad that there are a lot of bad Uber drivers out there that like to give people a hard time despite the fact that they're getting paid to do this. I was like, I got this boy over to work with like no problem, but what if his next Uber driver is a jerk? Like, and just makes fun of him because like he can't speak proper sentences or stuff like that. It was just kind of worrying me and made me a little upset after I dropped this boy off. Most people would either start a conversation with me, or they will either like sleep in the back of my car, or have like one little short stop that they have to be at in order to get something, and then like I drive them to the real destination. What made me stop doing Uber was that, number one, I got a really much more consistent job. I got much more consistent job that paid a lot more money. I'm able to pay my school loans now. My parents were getting more worried for me because the news about Uber was spreading, and there was a lot of bad news aside from the whole independent contractor thing. There was a guy that was being an Uber driver, and he picked up a passenger, and the passenger was really, really drunk and decided to beat the Uber driver up for no apparent reason. The Uber driver had to drive all the way to the police station to get rid of this guy while the drunk was just kept beating up on him. And then the Uber driver eventually went to the hospital. And there was also this woman in an area that was quite somewhat near me who got thrown into the back trunk of her car while the passenger drove her car and took her credit card and took some money from her. So yeah, major concerns. So I'm pretty much glad that I quit when I did. But I hope all of y'all have gotten something out of this at least. Please let me know if you have. Please let me know if you're an Uber driver. Please let me know if you use Uber as an Uber passenger. Cause I've never done that before. I was never an Uber passenger. Alright, you guys have a nice day. Bye. Restricted banned items, and you see tons and tons of comments of like, I see these banned items in auctions all the time. So what I would definitely do before I happen to buy some stuff from Tophatter, I do like to take the title of the item that's being auctioned and go to eBay, Amazon,